You know, back in the 1800s, there was a real thing called flea circuses. And during those flea circuses, they would take actual fleas and they would put them in baby food jars and they would shake them up. And after a while, the fleas came to realize that they could only jump as high as the baby food jar or they would hit their heads. So the fleas became conditioned to the fact that they could only jump so high. We as humans, we do the same thing. Well, you might ask yourself, what has that got to do with Chris's little bus build? I'll tell you that my whole life I've never really thought I could build anything. Never thought I could cut a piece of metal or build a wall or do any type of painting. Or to this week's project, to design and build and install a rooftop deck for this beast. So that's exactly what we're going to do this week. We're going to jump higher than a flea can, and we're going to believe in ourselves, and we're going to believe that the sky's the limit and that we can do anything. We'll see you in a second. Like so. This is an 8-foot board, so let me measure over 4 foot. 4 foot's right there. .29 inches, so 14.5. So basically what I've done is I've just found center of my board, and then I've found center of the roof. And I'm just going to slide that like so. Okay, now I know that I've got the same amount here as I do here. You can see I've got these right here clamped. You can see that they're rotated, right? So that's about 90 degrees right there. It's about a 90 degree angle. And what I want is I want for these things to sit flat, and then there'll be an angle cut. That way this part right here is going to be straight up and down. So I'm going to angle this, and I'm going to bring it down. Okay. Okay, so I've got my angles right, and I went ahead and scribed a mark on them. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll cut that and then we'll flip it over. It should be straight up and down once I do that. So if I got that angle, then I got everything I need. This is the mark. That's it. Here's the mock-up. Nothing fancy. Where it'll fit. Third one up. Third rivet up. All right, so here's the mock-up, and what I did was I just sent this over to my welder Phil, and here's what he came up with. So this slides into this cavity right here, and it can be adjusted up or down. Just to demonstrate one more time, these fit in like this. So these will fit in on the roof. And then I've got 2x2 square tube that will fit in just like that. Connect all these. That'll get tacked in, and then once all of it's tacked in, the frame's like we want it, level, straight, all that stuff, then we can remove the whole thing and then finish welding it up, get it all primed, painted, and ready to go. After that, we'll slide the whole unit back in these, and then once we get everything level this way, we'll put a tack. That way it'll all get held, and then I'll put a 3/8 hole right through here, and then I'll have these grade 8 bolts that'll go all the way through and hold everything in place. Yep, so that's the plan, Stan. See you guys in a second. All right, so I kind of wanted to talk about my hole placement here, how I'm drilling it. Not to get too technical on drilling holes here, but just a couple of things I learned. So on this hole, where the slope is this way, I've got to go on this side to actually drill it through, because I can't get my drill at a really angle like I need, straight up and down, you know. This hole only needs to be the size of my bolt. It doesn't need to be the size of the rivet. So this is going to be a 3/8 inch. But yeah, so I'm just gonna start and make a small hole with this little 3/16 drill bit right here. These are not the holes that need to be perfect, really. The ones up that you transfer need to be perfect. So now I'm gonna change over to my 3/8 bit. Right, make sure I get the bottom really clean. Then I'm going to take that same drill bit that I used, the 3/8, and I'm going to take this up to the roof, and I'm going to go right in there, and I'm going to hit it just one time just to get a mark on the roof. And once I do that, I can pull this away, and then I can put the tip of my drill bit in the center of that mark, and then I can go through. And then I'll step up to a 1/2 inch drill bit. It's more like 5/8, I think is what it probably is. So let's go up and show you how we do that. Now I'm just gonna line my bracket up, get it as parallel to this line right here as I can, get it as close as I can to my mark, make sure I'm not around any rivets, and then make that little mark like so. Now I'm just going in with that 3/16 drill bit Now I'm going with my 3/8 drill bit. Now I gotta go get my 1/2" drill bit. Before I do that, I'm gonna go inside real quick and check and make sure that I'm going through in the right spot. Perfect. So you guys can see that my hole is pretty much in the right spot. Now we got to open this hole up just a little bit wider. So I'm going to use my step bit here. There it is. This will go on here. I haven't actually locked it down yet, of course, but this will give us a good idea. I just need to find my 3/8 drill bit again. It's a moment of truth. So that looks to be pretty good. And once I get these rib nuts set, if I've got a little bit of discrepancy, I can always bore these holes out just a little bit, you know, like a 32nd of an inch or whatever, just to give me enough wiggle so that these go in correctly. All right, everybody. So I just got a much anticipated tool in. We're gonna open it up and see what this thing's all about. This is actually a rib nut tool. And I wanted to get, to be honest, the one that was probably the most expensive, or one of the most expensive ones on there. I don't know. It's about 70 bucks. But the rib nuts that I have are pretty big for the rib nut world. So yeah, this looks like a pretty nice piece of equipment. I can find my here's the tool right here. So pretty much what you're supposed to do for this thing is you just take your little handy dandy tool here, and you're going to remove this top nut. You remove this nut, and then this sleeve pulls back, and then this screws out. This is actually your tool that grabs a hold of your rib nut, and this on the end is like a ratchet. So when you put this in, it ratchets over and locks this piece in, because this is the piece that really does all the work. So I believe I read that the M8 is what came on it, and each one of these comes with its own little box, which is cool. So we'll put that back in its box. Got to figure out which size rib nut a 3/8 is. This do this one right here. So to install this, so I'm going to take my M6, then I'm going to pull this down. Tighten this up finger tight. Lock it in with the ratchet. Gonna put my main piece on there. Finger tighten it. And then here's my nut piece. Then you're supposed to open this all the way up, and then you'll screw your rib nut on. And the idea is when you put it in, you're going to ratchet this down. This will expand out this way, like this, and it'll lock into your hole. So let's go try it out. Yeah, this thing is not easy, guys. Especially these big old giant M6s with the stainless steel nut. That actually worked really well. That worked surprisingly well. All right, so there's one rib nut. So this is my opinion on this. I tried to make myself one of those rib nut tools, but let me tell you, really wasn't worth it. Didn't work all that well. Couldn't get a good grip. There's a lot of little issues with that, but this is a lot easier, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna take my rib nut, and I'm just going to twist it on here, making sure that the little tool part's sticking out of the end a little bit, making sure that this is all the way as wide as it'll go. Then I'm just gonna stick it right in here. And then what I'm figured I'm gonna do is just put it up against my shoulder here. Yeah. All right, everybody. I wanted to show you guys how I'm waterproofing the these bolts right here. I'm just taking a couple of little pieces of this butyl tape and a couple of washers, and I'm gonna just kind of sandwich these washers together. And I'll take a spare bolt and kind of punch a hole through. It's kind of what it leaves you with. I take and just kind of fold these over, and then I'm gonna put another piece here on one side. Now we need to go through that one, punch a hole in it. So we're left with something kind of like that. Then I'm going to go through the top of my hole. I've got a lock washer, a regular washer. Then I'm going to come around here on the bottom and I'm going to put the flat side against this. That way when I bolt this down, this is going up against the roof and creating a watertight seal. And what this is going to do is this is going to smash butyl tape in between all the pieces of metal. Causing a watertight seal. And then we'll go over the top of these with some Henrys. Two types of Henrys. We'll do the Henry's tropical paint, and we'll do some sort of self-leveling caulk or something like that. Beautiful. It's in there like swimwear. You can see no movement. So, all right, let's go ahead and get the other ones done. I've on some of these brackets, I'm gonna go ahead and ensure that they never come off. I went ahead and drilled straight through here. And this is gonna be without the rivnuts. And I'm just going to put these bolts in. I'm gonna lock them down on the underneath side with a nut. And then after that, I'm gonna have Phil, the welder, when he comes out, I'm gonna have him put a tack weld on the nut on the other side of this. So he's gonna tack the nut to the metal roof, and then what that should do is that should lock that nut in to where it'll never move. That'll give me an opportunity to, if I ever need to unscrew it, I can. I'll put a little bit of Loctite on it. That way it's held in.